Welcome back to the SA Sports Show. I'm James Rogers from Squash SA, down here again at the 24/7 squash court at Tonsley. Got James Hooper back in today. James, been a professional athlete yourself with lacrosse and other sports, and run gyms, trained many people from many different sports. So talking about cross-training today, not CrossFit, cross-training. You've seen athletes come from one sport to the other, you've changed athletes from some sports to others. What are the main benefits that you think in general of cross-training for athletes?
Yeah, so cross-training especially, so it's all about just developing the specifics of the sport. So whether if you're in a power, strength-dominated sport, so then we could look at on your off-season all your Olympic lifting, your power lifting, posture, muscle activation, getting the body running more efficiently. Also taking up a different sport in your off-season. So whether it be soccer, badminton, whether you're trying to get hand-eye coordination better, whether you're trying to get your skills better with your feet, whether it be dodging, hand-eye coordination, everything. So playing different sports have its benefits, and it also keeps the body ticking over in the off-season.
Yeah.
So
I coached a bit in Philadelphia, squash specifically, but I noticed that when we had kids come in that had played specifically lacrosse and soccer in their off-season, they seem to be a more rounded, seasoned athlete for a sport like squash, which they have nothing to do with each other in my mind.
Yep.
Do you think there's any benefit to playing multiple sports when you're young until you find your specific sport? What can that do to the body? Absolutely.
So I think it's a very positive thing. You just have to be careful of the athlete and the junior not becoming tired of the sport or losing a bit of interest in that. But as I said, for developing other skills, whether it's hand-eye coordination from different sports, every sport's got a different journey and different skills which is necessary. So developing them as a young kid, it's going to stick with them for a lifetime. So getting into as many sports as you can, it's a very beneficial thing.
Okay. In the 70s and 80s, squash was used by a lot of sports as a second sport or a fitness sport or a cross-training sport, probably before the term cross-training came around. Yep. It was used by a lot of AFL players, and I speak to a lot of old police officers. They were playing a lot of squash as their fitness regime.
Yep.
Why do you reckon they chose a sport like squash?
Squash, well, it basically covers everything. So all your quick movements, your decision making, you have to think on the spot, the change of direction. So these movements replicate a lot of the movements that would be in their general sport. So gets your heart rate up, keeps you fit on the off season, and obviously the flat surface is going to keep injury prevention down. So.
What do you consider as the best cross-training activities these days that would cover across most of our Australian sports? You spend a lot of time in the gym specifically.
Yep.
It might be something in there or a specific sport that you think crosses over the best.
It's a tough one to say. So every athlete's an individual. Some have got other aspects that are developed more than others. So it's hard to say which one would develop the athlete the most. So it really depends on the individual and coming from what sport it is. So it's a very bit of a tough one to answer.
And I've seen you train athletes a fair bit with a lot of powerlifting and weightlifting exercises. Yep. I've sent my athletes to you.
Yep.
That seems to cross over to a lot of sports and have a lot of benefits.
Oh, it certainly does. So as I said, all to do with injury prevention, getting the body stronger, faster. So lifting heavy doesn't mean, putting on bulk and size. It also works well for developing speed, so when it's done correctly. So a lot of sports will benefit from that if done correctly.
Yep, okay. Well, there you have it, boys. Basically, good advice just to play as many sports as you can, and it'll help the main sport you're trying to focus on. Back to you in the studio.
And now we're lucky enough to have one of the leading harness trainers, Aaron Bain. Welcome.
Thanks, Kim. Good to be here. Thanks.
Now, mate, I wanted to ask you this because I don't know how you do it. As I know that you're very high up with Hans Transport.
No, Hans Fabrication.
Hans Fabrication?
Hans Group.
How do you manage to do what you do? Because you've got something like 35 horses in work at the present time.
Yeah,
where do you find time to do that?
Today there's a team of 34 in work. So, at Arns, so general manager there, or group general manager for the rural group. So, manage our transportable silo businesses and flat bottom silo business around Australia. So, certainly heavy workload, but also got a good team of staff at home with the horses. So, the staff's the key with anything, work and also the horse industry.
You had a few win on the weekend. You had more than a few.
Yeah, no, we had 9 starters, 5 winners. So very good weekend. A good time to come in on the show. But
very good
when
time.
things are going well. But no, just starting to hit their straps, and we've got a couple of nice ones in the stable at the moment.
We thought it would be a better week for you to come in next week, so you give us a few winners.
That's what I'm going to do. I need the phone number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't go having winners before you come on. Have winners when you get in.
We hope they don't stop. But we did have a few good odds this week, so would have been better last week for you. But anyway, that's all right.
when you're training? Are you involved with any, like financially? Do you-
Of recent times, I've been probably my biggest owner myself. I've probably owned 80% of the horses, and just now we've started to get a lot more syndication opportunities with the horses. Rocky Butterworth's done. He's started some good syndicates as well. But with success, people pay up for horses interstate, and you attract more and more owners, and also other horses from interstate, which is really beneficial, and hence why the team's been growing recently.
How'd you get involved, mate? How'd you get involved in harness racing?
Yeah, family started out. My grandparents, they own all the hilltop horses that run around, and my father was a trainer there, Peter Bain, and then he's the president of the Gawler Harness Racing Club. But yeah, born in, I think I went to my first race meet at 2 days old. Come straight to the hospital. I think I've got a photo of me in the pool room.
Wow.
Dad had a winner that day, so I tasted success early, and it's been in my blood since. And it's just an addiction. It's the sport. You don't do it for, you might not do it for financial or for, it's a lifestyle, and it's one I love. It's just it's bred into you, and it runs through your blood. Yeah.
Okay.
How do you go when you're obviously competing against the gallops? Like obviously. Yeah. And then you've got your dogs as well. That's obviously, they call that the poor man. And then I suppose your trotters. How do you go to combat that?
A lot of people, it's interesting when you're trying to get new owners attracted to the sport as well. A lot of people, a lot of lads my age want to go to the thoroughbreds is commonly the more attractive industry as such. They dress up, race day, all that. Harness racing seen not so much like that, but it's more hands-on, and I've had a gallop or two in my time as well and shares in it. It's a very expensive sport, yes, very lucrative at times as well, but I've always been a harness racing man, always will be, not saying I won't flutter in a gallop or two in the future, but, it's just, and my perception on social media, I'm trying to do a lot more work there to lift out my profile and also the industry in a whole, I don't do it just for myself, it's trying to promote the whole harness racing industry.
So where do you want to get to? Okay, you've had 9 in on the weekend, 5 winners. Things are going pretty well.
Yeah.
What's the pinnacle? Where do you see yourself going higher into harness racing?
I think.
And how high can you go?
Yeah, with my own my own work as such, and I'm heavily grounded there, and I've been there 8 years, and I've Steph's been good to me there, even though he's one of our good horses at the moment. We'll touch on him shortly, Ideal World. But, they've been good to me. I'm well and truly grounded in SA. I don't have any plans to move into state. But, I want to get to the pinnacle where we are now. So, hopefully I'm 4th on the Trainers Premiership at the moment, this season. Hopefully we can, we can get to, I think we can get comfortably in the 2nd spot, hopefully all going well, by the season's end at the end of August. And, next year be challenging for the top spot. That's my goal.
Who are you catching?
Ryan Horrocks, the leading trainer. He does a very, very good job. So he is the pinnacle here. Him and also Les and David Harding, the father and son combination, they do an excellent job. So
that family's been around a while. The High Horrocks in harness racing.
Yeah, they've had a lot of good horses.
Quite a long time.
Yeah, and also the Hardings. They've been some great. David Harding was one of the best drivers here, and he's floating the hand at training now as well. So they do a very good job,
So where's it at, mate? Where's harness racing at? We hear a lot of stories about trainers struggling, people struggling to make ends meet and whatever. Where do you think it is at the minute, and what do you think what changes can be made to make the sport grow?
Yeah, harness racing here is pretty steady, I'd say. People always want to go at the doom and gloom of it, and always find the negative rather than the positive. I'm quite the optimist the other way. I'd rather find the positives out of rather than the negatives. And I put a lot of my own financial involvement. I'm very heavily invested in the sport, and it's attracting the young people too. If I said where I am now compared to where I was 6 months ago, I probably involved 40 new owners. I'd, if I sat down and said I'd probably by the end of the year I'd want another 20 to 30 in some form of syndication, and it's trying to lift the profile of the sport like that, attracting younger people to the game. I'm probably one of the youngest trainer at the moment, and with the biggest stable. So it's certainly but my job allows me to do it as well, and then a good team of staff at home.
Helps.
What's a horse worth, like a good horse?
Yeah, so our marquee or pin-up horse of the stable at the moment is Ideal World. We bought him from New Zealand. We paid good money. So Stefan Arns, he owns Arns Group. Also Darren Thomas, so Thomas Foods Australia, and Seymour Bloodstock. So again, a very strong galloping group. The Seymour Bloodstock group, and he's come over to get a horse with me. David McMahon Services, and then Raymond Spence as well. So 4 very high-profile business people in Adelaide. You know, and without revealing the checkbook, he was in the mid, you know, around that 50,000 mark, you know, and with it landed in Australia. You know, he come from New Zealand, but he come on that hefty price tag, and at the moment he's living up to it. So he's won, I think, he won 8 of 10 here in Adelaide, and you know he'll have one more start here. He won on the weekend very impressively. He'll have one more start here in Adelaide. Then we're going to travel to Queensland with him for the Winter Carnival up there. So he'll go on in 10 days' time. He'll be headed to Queensland for a month. So there's some lucrative races on offer up there, and you know, you buy the good horses for the better races and try and fly the flag for Adelaide. He'll stay under my name as trainer, and we'll travel up with him as well. I'll send someone if I don't go myself, because that's what it's about, promoting the state. And I only had Graham Fisher the other day say, you know, it's fine, it's good. We've finally got another horse, apart from probably Come On Frank was the last one, that everyone was sort of talking about, that we can probably promote, and hopefully, if with a bit more luck, and if he can. Oh, there we go, wardrobe malfunction. Hopefully with a bit more luck, and if he continues on his way, we can really progress and do SA proud.
Prize money? How's that? Is there a growth?
It's funny, I use this as a bit of a marketing tool as well. I saw a comment on Twitter, someone actually commented on Ideal World. Funny, you know, and someone I didn't know from New Zealand said, sad that he's only won 13,000, they got the stats slightly wrong. From 8 wins, he's won $18,000 from eight wins, 10 starts, but he's only lost 2 country fronts. Now in Melbourne, if you lost 2 country fronts, you'd only get $8,000 back for that. You know, so we've been able to place him, and you know, yes, he's been in Australia 7 months. He was off the scene for 3. He had a hairline fracture in his hind leg. So they don't look into the bigger picture. We've been able to place him well. He's still on a very lowly assessed grade. Now we're going to chase the better money, and hopefully we can reap the rewards. But there is money to be made in SA, and you know, when you actually sit down and analyse it, if you can place, they might have to win 1 or 2 races more, but you can earn just as much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Baz, I've got 4 kids, so I'm going to have to talk to you after if you can make some cash.
Don't worry, I'm with you, mate. As soon as we go off here, bang. Hey, you been on the weekend? Have you got anything happening on the weekend?
Yeah. We've Ideal World to go around, so he's probably he's my safe bet, but he'll be pretty short. So you know, but I probably one that I'd go with. We got one on Saturday night, Hilltop Rose. I'd say she's ready to win. She ran a very good race last week, so yeah, she'll go very close Saturday night.
Good luck, mate.
Yeah.
Odds
Thank
have
you.
come down now, haven't they? Odds have come down now. Get on.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, mate.
No
really
worries.
appreciate it.
Pleasure being on
good
the
luck
show.
on the weekend, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
We'll be back soon.